Welcome into NHL Tonight. First shift presented by Navy Federal Credit Union for Tuesday, April the 29th, 2025. EJ Radic alongside the coach, Bruce Boudreau. Didn't scare you off after one day?
Nope, I'm still back for more.
That's right. Well, I'm glad you're going on a little vacation, right? You're going off to the Bahamas, I think, tomorrow.
I'm taking all my stuff. I'm not done working, but I'm going to the Bahamas for a few days.
Well, listen, you deserve it. You literally are the king of all media right now. With all this hockey playoffs going on, I open my phone, you could show up in any situation.
Well, you know, I just can't say no. Yeah. And I know a lot of the people that do it, and it's a lot of fun. And listen, I only feel comfortable, as you know, when we're talking hockey. If we're talking,
that's right.
If we were talking accounting or anything,
I have not seen you on any accounting shows.
No.
Not that I listen to any accounting podcasts, but I have not seen you on any. But you know, you love. I know this about the viewers. They kind of probably feel like they know you over the years from the different coaching jobs that you've had. You do love the game. You love the game as much or more than anyone I've ever met.
Well, I fortunately or unfortunately, I do. And it's been my whole life, and I've loved the life that's given me. And anytime I can talk hockey, it's at least the one thing I know that I'm semi-literate at. Like, I mean... Like sometimes we get into, and people, when I'm golfing with guys, we talk golf, and they say, what are you talking about? I don't really know, but I'm talking about it. But hockey, I know what I'm talking about most days.
All right. Listen, I do want to bring in J.D. Lindberg. Doesn't want to come on now because we've eaten in a few minutes.
Go.
But I'm bringing him in anyway. Come on in. Come on in.
I'm here.
Here he is. We missed you yesterday. That's all. I just want to welcome you back.
Listen, I appreciate that. I missed you guys. And Coach, when you were talking about you loving hockey, it comes off. Like it's infectious when you come out of the hotel pent up. You're ready to just talk with everybody.
Ready to
go. I love it, man. It's so much fun getting to chop it up with you and talk hockey. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great time, and I love it. So,
all right.
Busy show each.
All right, let's go. First things first. Let's get to it. We had 2 games last night, and out of which we get this note from the NHL Department of Player Safety. Florida's Aaron Ekblad will have a hearing today for elbowing, maybe in parentheses, forearming, whatever you want to call it, Brandon Hagel, and he ended up leaving the game. There was no penalty on the play. The referee, you can see the referee number 2 there. He's spinning, turning. I just don't think he really gets a look at it. The linesman from behind is probably blocked. There's 4 guys out there. You'd think somebody would see it. Nobody did. There was no penalty. But he does end up having a hearing, and I am going to assume that, like we saw with Hagel, who had the hit on Barkov earlier in the series, I'm going to assume that most likely Ekblad is going to get a game suspension.
I think it's going to be a 1 game, and I think they've already called Hagel out. So, I mean, and I think it's not as much of the hit, but it's if you look at his head snap back and hit the ice, I think that's probably what did a lot of damage.
Well, when you drop that bottom hand, and you use your forehand like a forearm shiver, which, you know, like Adam Foote used to do it, like he would do it more in the corner. Like he would drop that arm off the bottom of the stick and he would just hammer people with it. That was the way it was played in the 80s and 90s, probably for years before as well.
That was natural. I have a different outlook. That's like AJ Styles with the phenomenal forearm. Just a little wrestling analogy in there.
Save that stuff for Jack and Redmond. Don't bring that stuff in here with me. I don't know what the heck's going on with that. It's been a long time.
It was a forearm that caught him, and I mean, Mr. Cooper, he was quite colorful in the way he thought that it happened.
Yeah, he's saying like there's 4 guys out there. He's counting them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. None of you saw it. I can't believe it. He was hot. I mean, Bruce, you've been behind the bench when calls don't go your way, and then this is him after they scored to tie it. He was hot. And then he was happy.
I mean, he was passionate there. And a lot of times when you're doing it, as a coach, you can't believe you're watching the play. The referees are supposedly watching the play. How can they miss it? And it becomes problematic when the referees say something that like sort of isn't true. Like, I mean, he didn't hit him hard or he missed him, and you can watch it right there and you see exactly what happened. But I mean, I tell you what, that tells me right now, both of these coaches are so involved in this Battle of Florida that they want to win so bad that you really see the emotion come out.
You know, and both these guys have won the Stanley Cup now, right? I mean, John won it twice. And then Paul won it last year, and, they know what it's all about. So they are, and Paul is just as dug in on his side of things as well. And you can see that update from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hagel is not going to play. He's already been ruled out for game number 6. No, number 5. I'm losing track of games here.
Okay.
But he's already ruled out of that game. And I think John Cooper said, well, he's not playing, and you know why. So there it is.
I think that's a little bit of gamemanship, too. Trying to sit there and say, hey, listen, he's out. Paul had said Barkov is a game time decision, and I'm hoping to get the safety people leaning a little bit their way.
Well, when there's an injury and a guy can't play, we've already talked about, the Department of Player Safety has made it clear over the years that once they have discovered that someone has gone over the line and committed an act that they feel is suspendable, other things then do come into play, like someone's history, or like if the player is injured and is going to miss time. And in the case of Barkov, they never ruled him out. They just said he was day-to-day, and he ended up playing. This seems pretty definitive to me that John Cooper would say this player is out and will not play. Exactly.
A day before. To me, if that's concussion, if he has a concussion, there's a certain protocol of you got to wait 4 days, and then you go on the bike, and if you can go on the bike and get your heartbeat up, and then it's 2 more days after that, then you can start skating. So, it's easy to say, hey, if somebody, and I'm not saying that's what they've said, but that's when you know something like that he can't play because it's going to take time, then you can come out and make that announcement already. And I think that's what John did.
Yeah, so listen, we hope that Brandon Hagel is going to be okay. He had a terrific season this year. And, listen, he did pay a price for the hit that he put on Barkov. He did get a suspension. But I will say this also, and you've been in the battle. You played, you coached for many years. I've been watching for many years. I had a short stint as a scout. When you want to win it all, right, there are things that you cannot allow on your team. And, at the end of the day, Barkov is the leader in Florida. And he took a pretty heavy hit there. Now, there was a game suspension. But sometimes you have to send a further message that, we don't tolerate that kind of thing. And we're going to make it hard for you now, too. And that's what happened. I'm not saying that you should forearm shiver a guy in the head. But, you are, if you're trying to win in these, it's competition. It's hard battles. You go throughout the history of this game. I know it's changed over time, but at the end of the day, it's still a hard competition out there. These are the things that happen. The Florida Panthers have championship pedigree. They have their eye on winning it again, and they're not going to let anybody stand in their way.
No, and the other thing, too, the coaches have to do is they have to show the players they're going to bat for them.
Yeah.
That's
right.
They're in the war with them, and I'm going to fight tooth and nail for you guys. Whether we're right or wrong, I'm on your side. I'm not on anybody else's side. I'm not looking for to be the nice and be the guy that's diplomatic and that. I'm fighting for you. And both of these coaches in the last couple of days have really shown me that for their teams.
Yeah, so it was a crazy game. We had that hit in the game. We had another play later in the game where Mikkola hit Girgensons when he was kind of on his knees and was given a 5-minute major for boarding. And I think, it was just crazy swings in the game because it was 1-0. And there's the boarding play here. You can see Girgensons. He goes on his knees. He's vulnerable. And Mikkola says, I'm going to hit you into the boards anyway. And
when you're watching that and at the in running time, you're going, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
The guy is in a vulnerable position on his knees with his head towards the boards, and you go and you try to hit him in the head. You're going to get gonged for that. He's very lucky he didn't get suspended.
He got the 5-minute major in a game misconduct, and then he also was fined today as part of the discussions with player safety today. So in the game, Florida took the early lead, 1-0, and then you had that hit. It went uncalled. The Tampa Bay Lightning scored twice to take a 2-1 lead, and then later in the game, after the Lightning power play has just disappeared. They're 1 for 15 in the series. They had a 5-minute major, couldn't do anything. And then somehow the Florida Panthers do the exact same thing. They scored 2 goals in 11 seconds. They had an empty netter, and they win the game. Just crazy swings of emotion in this game. That was such a pivotal, game 4.
And at both times, the other team looked like they were controlling the game.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
Tampa looked like they were controlling the game, and when Florida scored 2 goals, and Florida looked like they were well in control of the game, and then Tampa all of a sudden gets 2 goals.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's reversed. I mean,
Yeah.
Tampa did it first, then Florida second. But I mean, that's really fun. It's really strange because, like, one of the things I used to do, it probably went in one ear and out the other for the players. But every time a goal was scored against us, the line that I would tap to go out there, I'd always say, this is the most important shift of the game. We have to gain momentum back. And so, I mean, you don't want them to score again. I mean, you want to break their momentum right away, and that's why a lot of teams you'll see they start their energy line after a goal or fourth line, because they know if they can win the draw and get it deep, then they start banging bodies and they take the momentum away. Here's a situation where the team that just scored has all the energy and they come right back and score again. It doesn't happen very often, and it shouldn't happen very often, quite frankly.
Yeah, that was just a crazy sequence. And, you know, throughout the game, you know, Brad Marchand, who has come over from the Boston Bruins, still a little bit funny to see him as a Florida Panther. He hasn't even been that long because he missed some time, played late. Had a really important game last night. You know, he makes a good play there. He had the assist. He's a +2. I mean, he's in a situation where he's kind of taken that Tarasenko spot with the 2 Finns, with Lundell and Luostarinen on that third line. And, you know, he's not facing the kind of heavy attention defensively that he would in the past, and he's fitting in nicely there. He was a factor last night, and, you know, Paul Maurice talked about it afterwards. Let's give a listen to Paul Maurice talking about Brad Marchand and his impact on the game.
What you don't know and you can't see is that he is up and down our bench the entire third period. All good stuff. Stay in the fight, fellas, like just all positive. He's got that. And you need that because it's quiet, right? You got guys who are playing huge minutes that aren't saying a word because they're recovering on the bench. You need somebody who just constantly reinforces the positive, and that, I'll take the 2 points are valuable, the 2 assists, but that's equally valuable because there's just so many situations like tonight in a playoff series where you need that belief when it's going against you, and he was a real driver of that.
So there it is from Paul Maurice.
Well, you know, the thing, too, is people sometimes forget, because he's been in the league so long, this was his role when he was a young player.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a third-line guy when he first came up, and so, I mean, he didn't play 21 minutes. But, you know, I'm sure at some point Zdeno Chara or Bergeron or one of those other leaders on the Bruins teams when he first started said, listen, if you're not going to play, you better be positive on the bench. Let's be positive. And he sees this, and he has learned. He's come so far in the maturity of his game and everything else that I could see he wants to be part of a winner. And so when he's the third line guy and he's not playing because the Barkovs are on and the Reinhardts and the Tkachuks, who used to be him, and he's just being positive. I think it's so important when you can look up to a guy like Brad Marchand and look at him being positive on the bench, how you cannot just want to jump out in the ice and play as hard as you can. It would be beyond me.
Yeah, he certainly fit in pretty seamlessly for the Florida Panthers. And, you know, the last thing on the goal, he was involved and made the nice pass to Lundell. The 2 goals in the game, the Ekblad goal and the Lundell goal, I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the coverage, where was it? I mean, I know a lot of these guys, we've had these conversations, that man-to-man in the zone, and, like, to me, you know, the front of the net was wide open on both of those goals. So they played well for long stretches, but, like, when you are playing a man-to-man type defense in your end and you have a miscommunication, bad things can happen, and we saw it happen twice against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a real man-to-man kind of guy, like, as far as playing. I'm more of, you want to have a guy in front of the net.
Want to have your defenseman there. That's what they're there for, to defend.
Yeah, I need a defenseman in front of the net to defend. But, I mean, in this case, they get all 5 guys in one side of the ice.
That was the first goal.
The first goal.
Outside the dots.
Outside the dots. And in the second goal, they just had miscommunication. They're supposed to be man-on-man. Braden Point loses his guy. The guy in that was in front of the net, the forward faded away.
Opening space.
And you know what? That was a great play by the forward because he can see the whole play developing. So, I mean, he could just be moving back and pulling that forward
the guy away from the net
to allow Ekblad to get in front of the net and score that goal. So, I mean, not great defensive play on those two goals by the Lightning, and at the same time, really smart plays by
Florida Panthers taking full advantage of it. And it's just so ironic that Ekblad, who scored a goal to tie it earlier that was ruled offside, it was washed out. This is not a guy who scores 100 goals. I mean, he's not a big goal. And then he comes back later and he scores. Just one of those things you just look at, you just wonder.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it just shows you about hockey, how much it's just a crazy game.
And you know what, people that are just watching, they don't realize how much communication goes down on the ice. So when you have a miscommunication down there, it's not that they're just skating aimlessly. The players have been told since they were 7 years old, we need more talk on the ice, talk, communicate. So obviously it was just a missed assignment by a couple players, and in the NHL, if you miss an assignment, it usually ends up in the back of your net.
Yeah, that was Gensel and Point, and that's the way it goes. So now the Florida Panthers, the defending champions, lead that series 3-1. They look to wrap it up in Game 5 in Tampa. But I think they'll likely have to do it without Aaron Ekblad. We'll wait to see what the Department of Player Safety has to say after the hearing. We had another game last night. It was the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. And again, a crazy game. The Avalanche just dominate the Stars in Game 4. So they come back to Dallas. And, you know, I should have known, you know, Pete DeBoer and this veteran Dallas Stars group. I mean, these guys have been in a lot of playoff battles together. They came out right from the start. A couple of great bounces that you saw it there. Wyatt Johnson, the puck went up in the air off the opening draw dump in. He found it behind the goal line. He fires one. It hits Mackenzie Blackwood, hits him, and then goes in 1-0. And then there it is again. I mean, this is a dumping to start the game. There's really nothing going on, but you could see there Wyatt Johnson was the only guy who could find where the puck ended up. And he scored. And then a little bit later, Harley comes in, and this is that dumping again. You're going to see it goes up in the air.
Nobody knows where
it is. Nobody knows where it is.
Because you're sitting there wondering, why isn't a Colorado guy on the puck first and is shot into their zone? But everybody's looking in the air, and Wyatt is the only one. I think Blackwood was looking in the air what that shot was, how it went in, because he was behind the goal line when he shot that thing in.
Yeah, amazing. And that's not a good goal. And then, you know, as the period goes on, you get later in the period, Harley takes a shot, it hits the goalie, hits Blackwood, goes up in the air, and like with the overhead is great, the puck just kind of flipping. Blackwood kind of retreats backwards, but doesn't get far enough into the net. The puck comes down, and fortuitous bounce for the Dallas Stars. It hits Blackwood on his nameplate and drops in behind him, and it's 2-0 after one period. So it was a crazy night of hockey last night.
It really was. And when you think about it, now Dallas is up 3-2. And I mean, when you're...
They barely had the lead except for last night,
but
right?
after 4 games, Colorado could have won all 4 of those games.
Yeah.
And now Dallas is in the driver's seat, and I mean, and it looks like they're just getting going. Like
Heiskanen may come back. We'll have to keep an eye on him for Game 6. Roberts is getting closer. If they can get out of this round, get a little healthier, I mean, look out.
Well, you know what, and it's going to be interesting because if Heiskanen and Robertson could come back, I mean, I would want them in Game 6 because
Heiskanen has a chance to play in Game 6. I'm not so sure about Robertson, but Heiskanen does have a chance to play.
Because you want to get, if the worst comes to worst, you want to give him a game to get ready, and then he'd be ready, ready for
have
Game
one
7.
under his belt. Yeah.
Like I mean, all of a sudden, if you throw him into Game 7 and go, okay, the cavalry's here, and then he hasn't played. A lot
to ask.
It takes a while to get ready.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But let me ask you this, Bruce, from your experience coaching in this league, a goal gets scored 9 seconds into a game. Unusual, right? And especially it's a playoff game, and it's a big playoff game. Give me it from both sides, for the team that scores it and the team that defends against it. I mean, how do you react on a bench in that situation? Because it is not something you expect to happen.
No, I mean, if you score the goal, you're saying don't let up. There's still 59 plus minutes to go. Anything can happen. Don't think we've got this. Or if you score 2 early goals.
Let's get another one.
You know, I was always worried if you scored 2 early goals that the players sit there and think, oh, this is going to be point night, and they're going to start cheating on the game. So you really got to emphasize what you want them to accomplish and to keep their head in the positive game. And if you're on the defensive side, you're going, okay, boys, let's not let that beat us. We got a lot of game to go. Let's shake that off. Let's push right back right after the whistle. Let's go after these guys. So I mean, both sides are saying things to encourage that next shift, because it's usually the next shift after a goal is the most important shift you're going to find.
Yeah.
And in the Florida game, it was definitely. But I mean, you know, these you always worry about the next shift.
Yeah. So when Mikko Rantanen got a goal in the game, it was 3-2. Colorado pushed back, and then they took a bad penalty, and the next thing you know, the Stars scored. They scored a couple of quick ones, and they put it away. So we're off to Denver for game number 6, and it's been back and forth, 2 great teams.
Well, you know what, and that's my only worry about Denver all year, or Colorado all year. They thought they could come back. Yeah. So I mean, but when you face a good team and a good team gets a lead, they don't let you come back.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, so the Avs have got to really worry about that. I think when you get into elimination games, it's the team that takes the lead is usually the favorite. It's hard to come back when you're from behind and a team has got a chance to eliminate you.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too about the power play, like in the Florida series, right? Tampa Bay's power play, good all year, nothing. Florida's penalty killers have been good. In this series, Colorado, a very dangerous power play. In this series, not as effective. The Dallas Stars always have a good penalty killing unit. So that's the difference maybe sometimes in these games, because, you know, you build momentum. You get a power play goal, you know, in key moments. Like if Tampa would have got one last night, would have changed the game.
I agree. And, I mean, I think unless Tampa gets their power play straightened out, I mean, they're not going to have success, because, I mean, Kucherov is great and Point are great, but they've led the league in power play points the last couple of years. I mean, and so, I mean, they need that as a big weapon on their team. And the same here with Colorado. You know, Makar hasn't got a goal yet. I mean, he's got 2 assists, I think. McKinnon's still getting a goal and assist, it seems like, every game. But you need that strength from Makar. And to me, they're getting the chances, but, I mean, they're missing the net. Like, I mean, like from right in the top of the circles, and I think they're trying to be too cute. Like the whole idea, I would get so mad at players trying to pick 2 inches of the corner. Just shoot for quadrants. If you miss one of the 4 quadrants in the net, you're still going to get it on the net. That's the most important
thing. Create a rebound, create a second opportunity chance.
But when it goes behind the net or over the net, you're not getting a second chance usually.
No question about that. So, hey, the Dallas Stars want to win away from advancing to round number 2. I'm sure the Avs will bring a big performance at home in Game 6. Here's a look at tonight's schedule. We got 4 games on the docket. Sens and Leafs at 7. Devils and Canes at 7:30. Leafs and Canes trying to eliminate and advance in their respective series. Now West, 9:30. The Knights and the Wild, that one in Vegas. They're tied at 2. And then back in LA, a wild series between the Kings and the Oilers. We'll see how that one goes tonight. Back east here, Chris Johnston with this tweet. The Leafs aren't making any lineup changes for Game 5 tonight, according to Craig Berube. I've liked our game, so I don't see a reason to change it right now. How do you feel about that?
100% agree with Craig. I mean, I watched that game, and I usually watch it as a fan when I'm watching the Leafs. But
You're a former Leaf. You grew up in the area.
Yeah, I was pretty watching how everything worked out, and I thought the Leafs played maybe their best game of the series.
I agree with you.
And they didn't give Ottawa anything for the most part, and so I mean, you know, it's hard to win 4 games in a row, and so I mean, so Ottawa wins one. I think they're going to come home to Toronto. Toronto's going to play the same way. The question is, and this is what happens when you get a wild card team, can they play the same way all the time, consistently? The first place teams can, because they've been doing that all year. The wild card teams usually have peaks and valleys in the way they play. I mean, so Ottawa is going to have to be exceptional and get exceptional goaltending tonight, I think, if they want to beat the Leafs, because the Leafs will be ready. They've played very good in all 4 games.
Well, this group of Leafs, now it's a different circumstance, different coach, but they haven't been great in these potential clinching games. I mean, these are ugly numbers right here. I mean, to go 1-12 in potential clinching games is pretty terrible. Now, I will say again, I think this is a different Leafs team. I've said it all year. More contender than pretender. So tonight at home, Craig Berube, I think he's done a nice job managing the whole thing that is managing coaching in Toronto. I do think they'll be ready. And to your point, I mean, the Ottawa Senators, we'll see what they can bring tonight. Linus Ullmark was good in Game 4. Can he be that good again? Brady Tkachuk has been dealing with a little bit of an injury, not 100%. Where is he at tonight? I think for the Leafs, because, it's just, if they struggle in this game tonight, and let's say they somehow lose, it's coming, right?
I know.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's the thing for the Leafs. How are they going to come out tonight? Can they get a lead? Can they play with a lead? Because with these last three games have all been in overtime. So they really, obviously, are in overtime. They could go either way. Leafs need to find a way to bring that game from Ottawa they played the other night, get a lead, and take care of business in regulation if they can.
I think if the Leafs get a 1 or 2 goal lead by the end of the first, and the home team has come out very good.
Yeah.
I know. Then I think they'll be fine. In Ottawa, the dressing room, they're going, "Hey boys, nobody expects us to win.
Yeah.
We're just out here. Let's give it everything we've got. Let's see where everything falls. But let's be legend killers today," because they're saying if we win this game, in Toronto, they're going to be sitting there thinking, "Oh my goodness, here we go again." And I mean, the papers, the TV, the radio, everything. They will have forgotten about the election in an awful hurry, because it'll be all about the Maple Leafs if they don't have success tonight. So I think both teams got an awful lot to play for other than just advancing. So, I mean, it's going to be a real interesting game, I think.
Yeah, so the Leafs, with a win tonight, could move on to round number 2 and await the winner of the Panthers and the Lightning. We'll see if they can get it done, taking on the Ottawa Senators in Game 5 in Toronto. When we come back, that Oilers-Kings series, Bruce. It's been crazy. Oilers rallied to go get an overtime win in Game 4. We'll talk about the chaos next on First Shift.
NHL Tonight, First Shift is presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, official military appreciation partner of the NHL.
Welcome back to NHL Tonight, First Shift, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union.
Waits, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid redirects in front, Stanley, Draisaitl scores! Series tied, Edmonton 4, LA 3, in overtime!
Jim, how do you change your approach in the third period to better close out games?
How do I change it? Next question, please. We're that far away on the empty net. Q chips that one out. Bouchard makes a good play. We're not even talking about this. So, how about that?
Sentiment in the room was that the first 40 minutes.
That's your favorite question, too, by the way. You got some ideas for me. Had plenty of opportunities to put it away and did not. So, here we are. We go home 2-2 instead. Get a power play in overtime. Those are tough.
Eric?
Maybe I'll ask Dennis if we like that call. We can go back and forth.
Oh boy. Yep. Well, I'll just turn to you. You've been on that podium. You've been on that stage after tough losses. I thought Dennis Bernstein, who is a friend of the show, and he covers the Kings. He works hard. He's out there all the time,
and he knows his hockey.
Yeah. Dennis is a good guy. I thought it was a very fair question. I mean, but you've been on that podium. You know how that feels. I mean, he looked a little shaky to me, but you tell me.
Well, I tell you what. Sometimes when you lose, and the losing team goes first in the interview room here. So sometimes they come to get you off the podium to go to the podium before you're ready.
Yeah.
And I mean. I remember, I've had a couple. George McPhee was great, and Chuck Fletcher was really good at this. Is they would say, "What's your message? Calm down. This is what we want to talk about today," like this. And I don't know if Hiller was ready because he was taking a front. He was still pretty upset that they'd lost the game, and for that question, he wanted to argue it, and there was something in the back of his head saying, I can't argue it, but I want to argue it.
Well, first he said next question,
Yeah.
and then he proceeded to go on a little diatribe, and then he took on Dennis for. And it's funny. You told the story, in our meeting today about being in Minnesota and getting a little back and forth going with Mike Russo, who Mike has been around a long time, does a great job, and you had a relationship with Mike, and I think Jim Hiller and Dennis Bernstein know
They
each
have
other
to.
very well.
Yeah.
So is that sometimes a byproduct of a relationship that you're kind of comfortable, so you can almost take it out on the guy?
Yeah, it's in both ways. Like, with Mike, he has to ask the reporter has to ask the tough questions, even if he really likes the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dennis is the same way. I'm sure him and Hiller are I wouldn't say tight, but they see each other
all the time.
every game at home, right? So, but you have to, if you want to be good at your job, you have to ask the tough questions, even if you don't want to.
Of course.
And we have to sit up there and, sometimes it gets the better of us. I know in that one case with Mike, I just said, that's enough, and I walked off because I didn't want to say anything crazy to him.
Yeah.
But so it's tough because you got to keep your emotions in check, and that's 15 minutes after a game where you could have won or should have won, and you don't want to answer any questions that because you just had a tough time, and you're still controlling your emotions at that point.
Yeah, the funny thing is about it is that, again, they've had the lead in all 4 games in the third period. One of the games they lost the lead and they managed to win, the crazy first game. These last 2 games, they've lost the lead, and they had game 3. There was the challenge play that he never really fully explained, like what he saw that made him decide to challenge, other than he thought it was interference. Well, what was the thing? He never wanted to talk about that. So I get it. You're upset, your team. But still, I think this is a byproduct for Jim. He's never been in this situation before as an NHL head coach I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on the LA Kings to win this time. They've lost 3 consecutive times to the Oilers. They don't want to make it 4. But it is one of those times. I think that was a fair question, and I don't think he helped his own cause with that.
The answer.
The answer. Yeah.
Well, it was more of a panic, and for both of those games, like for that game and the previous game, when they're blowing leads, I could just see him fuming, But there's an answer to it. If you look at the Kings, the first 2 games, and they win going away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they won the second game pretty well. The first game they almost blew the lead. But I think your point is that they're overplaying their D, right?
That's the point.
The 4 guys, and 3 of them are older guys.
And they play over 30 minutes a game. At some point, you've got to play the other guys to show them you have a little bit of faith in them. Because if you don't, and you win the series, you can't keep this up. The next series is going to be tougher and tougher and tougher. So, the LA Kings were a really good team this year. They got to be able to use defensemen 5 and 6 a little bit more than the 2 minutes that one played and the 11 minutes that the other played.
Yeah, Brant Clark played 11 minutes, and I guess Morvari didn't play a lot. Now, Jordan Spence, who didn't play a ton in Game 3, he's coming back in tonight. So we'll see. I agree with you, because some of those guys, Doughty's 35, Edmondson is a little long in the tooth himself. He's a bigger player. So is Gavrikov. Those are bigger guys. Those minutes wear on those guys. So we'll see.
Well, and the last point on that, like when it goes to overtime, if you've got 2 guys that haven't played, as a coach, you're afraid to play them,
right?
Because you don't want them to make a mistake because of lack of playing. So which is really important to get them in the first half of the game as much as you can, and then maybe spot them every now and again from then on in, if that's what you're going to do.
Crazy. So just we'll see what happens. That series has been fun to watch, and it's back in LA tonight, the Oilers and the Kings.
It's not a defensive-minded series by any chance.
No, it isn't. But good job by you. Speaking of defensemen, we've got the Norris finalists to give you. Hey, there were some great defensemen around the league. Stay tuned. That's next on First Shift. Welcome back to NHL Tonight, First Shift, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Well, we got news today of the Norris Trophy finalists, and I would say no surprise. at
None.
these 3 nominees. We have Quinn Hughes, who was the Norris winner last year. Missed some time this year, but still had an unbelievable year. Cale Makar, a terrific season for the Avalanche defender. And Zach Werenski, who really was a big part of the Columbus Blue Jackets and their push to try to get into the playoffs this year. You can see more than a point a game for Zach Werenski. Terrific. Now, we got Quinn Hughes up there, and we got some news from Elliot Friedman. And he tweets out, there is word this afternoon that Rick Tocchet will not be returning as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Believe there will be a full statement with his rationale in the next little while, but add Vancouver to the teams looking for a new bench boss. I am not that surprised at this news. I ask you, as the former coach of the Vancouver Canucks just prior to Rick Tocchet, do you think it's a surprise?
I don't. It sounded like he wanted out for a long time. I think he had an option, or they had an option on him, and they offered him more. More.
They wanted
years.
to keep him.
They wanted to keep him.
According to the president, Jim Rutherford.
Yes, but Rick has looked at this at the organization, and either he doesn't think that they've got a future Stanley Cup winner, or he's got an opportunity to go to a couple other places. And right off the bat, I think, hey, listen, he was an assistant coach in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's
maybe
open now.
That's open now. I mean, there's also
He was a big-time flyer for many years.
Flyer for many years, and the Rangers always
right.
like
They
the
have
big
an
names.
opening
So,
as well.
So when you're a coach and you have teams potentially wanting you, you're sitting in the catbird seat, and he can pick and choose where he wants to go. On the other hand, Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin are both from Pittsburgh. They both had Mike Sullivan. All of a sudden, there's another name going, hey, listen, we could get him here.
Maybe we can figure it out.
Maybe we can figure it out. So, I mean, all these things, these coaching carousels go around and around, and where it stops, nobody knows.
That's right. Well, I will only say this. I don't see Mike Sullivan deciding to go to Vancouver at this stage of things, so they'll probably make the call, as you would think they would, but I don't see that. And I'll add one more for Rick Tocchet. Anaheim, Southern California. It's nice weather, really good young team. He's in the Western Conference. He's probably seen the Ducks a lot over the last 2 years and sees all that young talent. So I'm not saying that's where he's going, but that's another option. The job is open.
He's been on the West Coast, basically, in Arizona or Vancouver. I think Anaheim would be a good fit. I really like the potential of that team. And, I mean, I think whoever goes in there is going to get a good shot at a couple of new free agents this year, and their young players are just getting better and better.
Yeah, and Joel Quenneville too. He was linked to Anaheim. We'll see. Quinn Hughes, though, this is interesting for Quinn because he talked about, hey, I liked playing for Rick Tocchet. He thought he was a really good coach. I think he liked playing for you as well. How much of a difference maker is this guy on a night-to-night basis? You got to see him up close.
He is such a difference maker. He is, he's impossible to check. He's the best passer I've ever seen.
There you go.
I'm including Nick Backstrom in that.
Wow, high praise.
Yeah, and he can play 30 minutes a night every night. He doesn't seem to get hit. And when he's deficient in something, he takes all summer, he works on that. I mean, when I was there, he would talk about how much he worked on his shot day in and day out. And he just wants to get better and he wants to win. I think he's a great competitor. And if he hadn't missed the X amount of games, I don't know how many, I think there are 15 or so.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
There would have been a good chance that he would have had the most points for a defenseman. There's a good chance that Vancouver would have made the playoffs with him in the lineup.
Yeah, really. I mean, he does make that much of a difference, but changing times in Vancouver. I do think Cale Makar is going to win it this year, but those are 3 excellent candidates. I mean, as a coach, you'd like to look down and have any one of those 3 guys on your bench.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Cale Makar is one of the greatest, if not the best defenseman for points in the game today.
Yeah.
But Werenski, I mean, he almost, I wouldn't say single-handedly, but he was the biggest reason, I think, that Columbus went right to the end. And you need that guy, that point-producing guy that can play 25 to 30 minutes every night. Werenski seems to be the guy, and I mean, this is his first kick at the can of being in the Norris Trophy
nominees.
Yeah. So I mean, he's not old by any stretch. He's only going to get better. So if they put some better players around him, he's going to even have more of an impact on the team next year.
Yeah, he was certainly a catalyst for the Jackets this year. But 3 great nominees, and we'll see who ends up taking home the Norris this year. When we come back, we're going to find out if J.D. Lindberg can give us a winning combo on the parlay. That's next on First Shift.
NHL Tonight, First Shift, is presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, official military appreciation partner of the NHL.
It is time for the Top Line Parlay presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And with that, we bring in J.D. Lindberg. Last week, we had Steve Tronzano take a swing at this. It was a swing and a miss. And so now our veteran producer will step in, and a man who has had much success this season in these situations. We'll see if he can produce again.
Got to give Bruce a lot of credit for that. We had him on earlier in the season, and I was saying, I try and hit like one a month, whatever. And
That's true.
Bruce demanded more out of me.
I did.
Right
That's why this man is a great coach. Jack Adams winner.
Brucey, I hope your phone's ringing, man. Like, as much as we love having you on First
I would
Shift.
like it to ring. I'm looking at it every 2 minutes, but it's not happening.
I'll call you after the show.
Okay.
All right. There
All
you
right,
go.
hey, we got to get to the big board
All
here.
right.
Let's go. First up, the first game. How about the Maple Leafs? Bruce, you said it earlier, team of destiny. The line's got to be drawn here. I like the Leafs to get it done, and you said it. They got to get off to a good start. So we got the Leafs' first period puck line here. Check out this, what Bryce Kerr, our ace researcher, came up with. First period goals at home. The Leafs have been scoring in the first period, so we like the Leafs to get out of the first period with a lead here tonight in Game 5. Back to the big board for us, Sterno. Hurricanes. It's going to be a tsunami on the Devils here. We like them race to 5 shots on net. The Hurricanes, first to 5 shots on goal. And a lot of that has to do with who's out for the Devils. Check out the injured defenseman that they got for New Jersey here. Jonas Siegenthaler and Brett Pesce, both game-time decisions.
Wow.
We knew about Luke Hughes, Brendan Dillon, Kovacevic. I think Ken Danico might have like 15
Might have to
minutes
suit
tonight.
up.
But having said that, we'll get back to the big board here.
You wouldn't want to go in front of the net. I know that.
Yeah, he's a couple two-handers, but the game has changed. But having said that, we're back to our bets here. Joel Eriksson Ek, your boy coach. He is good to go. Nosy Boyum tonight. We didn't get to that earlier, but Boyum out. Johansson in for Hinostroza. Joel Eriksson Ek, how important that line has been for the Wild. We like him to get a point. Check out his playoff statistics here. Only 1 point, but 17 shots on net. He's been around it. So maybe this is our stretch here, but we like him to get involved and get on the board. Finally, these 4-leg parlays. I feel like I've been talking for 90 minutes here.
Yeah.
All right, Kings. First period over 0.5 goals. So we like the LA Kings to score in the first period here. It's been good early going for Jim Hiller and company, right? Like first and second period, the Kings get off to good starts. They've gotten out to leads. We like that trend to continue tonight at home, as long as we do get the Korean harmonica group out
players.
there for the national anthem.
No.
What do you mean no?
I might have to take the cash out
They're
if we don't
2-0.
have harmonica.
They're 2-0 with the harmonica.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing, there's going to be lots of goals scored in this game.
It seems, well, the goaltenders, I mean, like, I got to say, Darcy Kemper the other night, I mean, in that overtime, he was just by himself out there.
Well, the other guys,
You got to give him a lot of credit.
every time there was a whistle, they're bent over like they could barely make it to
the
the
poor
bench.
guys
and
were worn out.
And
I blame Dennis Bernstein. You got to blame somebody.
I'm blaming
Gotta blame
Dennis.
somebody.
Then.
Sorry,
so,
Dennis.
No, I mean, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think you can. I mean, Kemper's up for the Vezina. I mean, he's really been great. But I mean, I just he hasn't gotten the protection that he's had during the course of the year, I don't think, and he's not exactly playing against a couple stiffs in Draisaitl and McDavid.
That is true.
So I mean, there's going to be goals scored, and Picard, if he just stays in there and allows one less goal than LA, he's going to be okay.
That game got so one-sided in overtime. I thought if Calvin Pickard just left the building, nobody would have known.
No,
like he skated off, but but like no problem because LA had like one push in that overtime, and that was seemingly it. And the Oilers end up winning on the power play. I like the parlay. We'll see how it works out tonight. And a final note: Z Bouillon is out, as JD says, on defense, and John Merrill will go in the lineup tonight. So a young kid, probably. This is a really big game tonight. Game 5, swing game for Vegas and Minnesota.
Merrill's been in situations like this before. You got to play him, and like the young kid got that high sticking minor too, double minor the other day
from your buddy Michael Russo. All right, a little
excuse me
there, a little sneeze. We moved right through that. We played through the sneezes here on first shift. But yeah, so we'll see. It makes sense that a younger player, and he did. He got the double minor in the game the other day.
So I mean, he might have been a little rattled, is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
So I mean, you know,
and
well, give him a chance to rest.
You were sneezing, but you were off camera, so it was okay. All right, let's get. We got one more break to get in here, and it's a weird night.
Who's that behind
the bench? Yeah, it was almost as if there was 2 Jared Bednars. We'll talk about it next on First Shift. Achoo!
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And this week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use promo code FLY when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Tweet from the NHL. Jared Bednar. Meet Jared Bednar? Yeah, this guy behind the bench last night in Dallas. I mean, first of all, he's having a cocktail, enjoying a little beer action there. And then I don't know, how did he find out, like, what kind of outfit that Jared Bednar was wearing? And who is that person next to him?
Did he bring a whole suit, like a whole bunch of suits, and saw what Jared was wearing and then went and got it on? That's crazy.
That is very, very strange. It is, though, reminiscent of the all-time doppelganger.
There's only one.
And that was
one guy like this.
Yeah, Paul McLean, who was coaching, I believe, with the Ottawa Senators at the time. And he goes behind the bench, as you guys do, on a night-to-night basis. And there,
that guy, he could be his twin brother.
That is unbelievable. That guy was unbelievable. Oh, man.
And he does a deadpan. Like, I mean, he's not smiling, nothing. He's just...
He looks like a walrus. Because, like, his mustache is even bigger than Paul McLean.
That's crazy.
Oh, that was beautiful. I'm so glad I didn't see that. Because I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, but if you had turned around and you're Paul, how could you stop laughing?
Yeah,
like, I mean,
you couldn't. You've had no doppelgangers behind you at the bench?
Lucky, no.
All right.
I wish I had a better answer, but no.
All right, NHL Now is next. See ya.